now like to move on to a third version of Macbeth, Trevor Nunn's 1979 production with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Ian McKellen, now known more famously for playing Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, is Macbeth, whilst Lady Macbeth is played by Judi Dench of recent Bond films fame. Whereas Polanski uses the rugged scenery of North Wales for his setting and writes an occasionally glamorous, occasionally gritty city landscape. This version of Macbeth was performed on a circular set with a mostly black background. Whilst this increases the intensity of the production and is much closer to the experience of theatre goers, it does rely to a huge extent on the ability of the main actors to command the stage. Neither McKellen or Dench disappoint. Francesca Annis was in her 20s when she played Lady Macbeth, Victoria Hill in her 30s. Judi Dench was in her early 40s when she produced her majestic portrayal of the ambitious wannabe queen. When she first appears on stage, she is dressed all in black with a black hat on her head. This hides what is often considered to be a key part of femininity, her hair, and so anticipates her desire to be unsexed early in this scene. Her black clothing links to her husband's imagery of black deep desires, and also foreshadows her own pleas for darkness and a thick night. During her soliloquy in Act 1, Scene 5, Dench stares directly and intently at the camera, showing the urgency of her own passionate desires. She says,
"Clams thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised."
The camera pans in ever so slowly as Lady Macbeth comes to the lines, "Be what thou art promised." Lady Macbeth herself slows down to show that she is considering every single word, deliberating, evaluating. This is not a woman who is making a spur-of-the-moment decision she will come to regret. She knows exactly what she's doing. Most other, less passionate, focused Elizabethan women would have left it up to their husbands to make decisions about their future career steps, telling them it's up to you. Lady Macbeth isn't like that. This calculated intensity increases as Lady Macbeth calls on the evil spirits. She pauses for more than 20 seconds as she considers what she should do next before crouching down to be closer to the floor. Then she cries,
"Come, you spirits, that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here."
The fingers on her left hand are stretched open, gaping as though grasping for evil spirits, whilst the crouching position, so dramatically striking, positions her centre of gravity closer to the ground, and so therefore closer to hell, where presumably these malevolent forces live. She then continues, and watch her reaction so carefully at the end of these lines.
"And fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty."
The scream, dramatic turning away and moving into the darkness, suggests that at this precise second, Lady Macbeth's beckoning has been successful, and she has indeed been entered by the evil spirits. This shocks, possibly appalls her. But now she's been filled with evil, she can make more specific demands.
"Make thick my blood. Stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it."
Once again, Dench adapts the unusual, visually arresting crouching pose, with one arm in front and the other almost fist-like behind, and whispers with an eerie intensity. Of course, she wants the impossible, for her body to close down its human ability to feel the specific emotion of guilt. This contrasts enormously with Polanski's version of Act 1, Scene 5, in which Lady Macbeth's famous soliloquy calling for assistance from evil spirits is split into two. The camera first shows a raven flying above the castle battlements amidst some ominously dark blue-grey clouds. It then shifts to a low-angle shot of Lady Macbeth, taken from underneath her, making her look more intimidating and psychologically dominating the viewer. Her hair is blowing powerfully in the winds, such a contrast to Dench's black, shadowy, hair-covering hat. Her eyes look coldly and dispassionately towards the path down below at the king's arrival party, whilst her neck is taut and determined. The camera then moves towards the back of Lady Macbeth to show the stunning, rugged North Wales landscape. Again, an enormous contrast to the black inside shadows of Nunn's production and the slow movement of the king and his men as her voiceover whispers resolutely,
"Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe top full of direst cruelty."
But Polanski pauses Lady Macbeth's melodramatic demands to the spirits to zoom down on Duncan, delighting at the castle and its surroundings. Just after Lady Macbeth has pleaded for nothing to shake my fell purpose, for nothing to get in the way of her determination that the king be killed, Duncan is shown jovially and cheerfully crying,
"This castle hath a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses."
This line was intended to be separated from Lady Macbeth's calls to evil within a different scene. The fact that it isn't makes Duncan seem all the more foolhardy and naive to be so relaxed and trusting of his cousin and so appreciative of the fresh air in Inverness. The contrast between his adjective gentle and Lady Macbeth's direst highlights the terrible danger he is in. After all, he has been deceived before by the previous Thane of Cawdor and has supposedly reflected on this in Act 1, Scene 4. There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. Foolish man. Duncan and his party get closer and closer to the castle. Polanski returns to Lady Macbeth's soliloquy, but now she is a woman of action, walking purposefully to welcome the king to his doom, as her voiceover reflecting her inner thoughts, whispers more urgently,
"Come, thick night, and pour thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold."
She wants darkness and fog to combine, so that both she and heaven do not witness Duncan's stabbing that her vivid imagination is picturing with her at the helm. So at the beginning of this famous soliloquy, Polanski has Lady Macbeth standing still, standing resolute, as she calls for the spirits to enter her and strip away her feminine weaknesses. Once this has happened, halfway through the soliloquy, she is able to show the traditionally male qualities of decisiveness and an ability to commit or imagine committing violence. The initially playful and innocent-seeming young woman has become a force of evil to be reckoned with. Wright's version of Lady Macbeth's Act 1, Scene 5 soliloquy is stunning, whereas Judi Dench's intensity of acting captivates and Francesca Annis's cold beauty amidst the Welsh mountain shocks, Victoria Hill is almost Christ-like in her plea to the spirits. Thunder rumbles, a baby swing squeaks, and the camera shows an uncomfortable close-up on Lady Macbeth's frowning and concentrated face. With the creaking baby swing a clear reminder of her dead child and denied years of innocent love and fun, she swallows, closes her eyes and demands,
"Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe top full of direst cruelty."
Although the movement is not as pronounced as Dench's crouching and grasping stance, Wright has Victoria Hill swoop her head from side to side in an attempt to draw in those notoriously hard to command evil spirits. Lady Macbeth continues in her trance-like state, but the camera pans out from her face to show ecstatic eyes and outspread arms, almost a sick parody of Jesus on the cross. The voiceover, please.
Make thick my blood. Stop up the access and passage to remorse. Come to my woman's breasts and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief.
Wright successfully creates a tense atmosphere in which evil could flourish, aided by jarring, high-pitched sounds and a glimmering blue-grey moon attempting to shine through the trees, enveloping Lady Macbeth's evil in darkness. However, in Wright's attempts to bring Shakespeare to a wider audience, he cuts the phrase used by both Polanski and Nunn. In the original text, Lady Macbeth doesn't want to feel remorse, so that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose. This line does not appear in Wright's film. We are dealing in very subtle differences here, but it could easily be argued that the additional references to remorse, guilt, feelings of compassion, as shown in compunctious visitings of nature, emphasise further that Lady Macbeth is deliberately moving away from what it is to be human, from what it is to be natural. Furthermore, some critics have argued that the phrase visitings of nature could refer to the female menstrual cycle, the blood that comes monthly to remind adult females of their body's reproductive, rebirth capabilities. By removing this phrase, Wright has perhaps placed an undue weight upon other, more obviously sinister lines, such as "unsex me here" and "take my milk for gall," thus removing some of the subtlety of Lady Macbeth's evil words. Wright adapts Polanski's decision to have Lady Macbeth walking purposefully towards the arriving king and his party halfway through the soliloquy. However, whereas in Polanski's version Lady Macbeth is kneeling obediently on the floor with around 10 others when the king arrives, here she is the one and only greeter.
Come, thick night, and pull thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold.
The shift directly from the soliloquy of Act 1, Scene 5 to Act 1, Scene 6 makes Lady Macbeth seem utterly ruthless, calculating and terrific at hiding her feelings. In the space of seconds, she goes from frowning and begging for evil spirits to the charming, all-smiling, flirting, glamorous hostess delighted to see an old friend. Victoria Hill's Lady Macbeth is perhaps the most dangerous out of the three we have discussed so far, for her ability to look like the innocent flower, to quote her own words, but inside be a wicked, conniving serpent.